I'm Dean Mikkelsen, the editor of Oil and Gas Middle East, based in Dubai, and we're here at IPTC in Saudi Arabia, and we're talking to Subodh of Nabors, and he's the Senior Vice President, handling their operations worldwide. So Subodh, how are you finding IPTC?
It's been an incredible experience. Whenever I attend industry events, one of the things I realize is that I'm getting older and older, but I also see the young talent that is coming up who have embraced our industry and are really driving a lot of technology advancements that are happening. So I find IPTC taking it to the next level with a lot of enthusiasm and energy that is bringing by the people here.
So would you say this young talent is the future of drilling, or what do you see as the future of drilling for yourself?
The future of drilling is all related to technology. And then let me explain why do I say that. The whole concept or how the wells are drilled fundamentally have not changed in the last 100 years. But despite that, there has been significant improvements when it comes to safety, efficiency, and recently sustainability when it comes to drilling. And all this is happening because of technology. And the way Nabors thinks about technology is that how can we get consistency and repeatability through deployment of automation. So I see the future of drilling very, very exciting because there's lots more to achieve.
So what do you see as upcoming technology involved in drilling, specifically with Nabors?
So in terms of drilling, Nabors is focused, as I said, in creating better outcomes for our customers, whether that is related to safety, efficiency, or sustainability. And our approach of automation can be broken down into three categories. The first one being machine automation. So one of the big products that we're going to deploy in Saudi Arabia specifically is what we call red zone robotics, which is robots that are going to be working in synchronization on a rig floor for a fully automated rig floor. So that is one step. The second step is the process automation, which is effectively breaking down the drilling process into discrete steps and using automation to automate each of those steps. And we're already deploying those technologies in Saudi Arabia and in the region to develop that. And the final piece is the advisory automation, which is based on data. And this data is how do you use data to take better decisions and drive improvements.
So in this advisory role, I think that you're using potentially artificial intelligence or machine learning as well to come up with better optimization, which then falls into your sustainability?
Yes, absolutely, yes. So the way we are today using machine learning as a way to deploy some of these solutions. But the future that I see of drilling is this generative AI that is going to be used. And that is a very, very powerful tool because it is able to combine huge amounts of data. It's able to, with physics or engineering based models, but is also able to incorporate the human creativity, which is missing today. We are not really harnessing the human creativity in taking real-time decisions because a lot of knowledge is based on the humans, but how do you codify that using Gen AI, I think is really going to make a significant change.
So that's the next step.
That is definitely the next step that I see of using Gen AI and combining these three elements together.
So Nabors is definitely technology driven in their focus.
That is the only way we can differentiate ourselves when you are in a very fragmented market. So technology is in our DNA and is driven from the top by the CEO and the board to make sure that we stay relevant for a long time. So technology is definitely within our DNA.
Okay. So how are you, speaking of technology, looking at decarbonisation and what's going on there? How are you reducing emissions on your fleet, and how do you support the whole net zero?
Yes. So I think if you look at data today, 80% of the world energy is still supplied using fossil fuels. But at the same time, we also know these fossil fuels come with a significant carbon footprint. So what the industry is doing today is to provide both affordable and reliable energy source through hydrocarbons. But at the same time, there's also a significant attempt to reduce our carbon footprint. And Nabors' approach in that decarbonization is coming from first measuring and reporting the emissions that we have on a rig. So today a rig is emitting about 22 metric tons of carbon dioxide on a daily basis, which on an annual basis is equivalent to driving an internal combustion engine car for 25 million miles. So we do have a significant footprint. So measuring and reporting that carbon footprint, because you can only improve what you measure, is our first step. The second thing is that how can we reduce our carbon footprint, which is coming from electrification of our rigs, which is coming from using alternate fuels and using automated engine management.
What alternate fuels are you looking at?
So we have, of course, the simple one is using gas, natural gas, because that makes the emissions much lower. But we are also in the early stages of using hydrogen, although it's a very expensive proposition, using hydrogen as an alternate fuel. And the last piece is that we are working on is carbon capture as well. Again, these are more in their infancy, but today we have commercially deployed multiple solutions related to electrification, engine management, and reducing the carbon footprint by measurement.
So where do you see these tools 5 years from now with Nabors? More carbon capture, more electrification?
I think we will be doing all of the above. I don't think that there is one solution. We have to reduce our carbon footprint, but also able to find alternate fuels, and we also have to do carbon capture. I think it is not one silver bullet. I think we have to approach this in multiple ways and then find the most efficient solution which is going to help in decarbonization.
And it depends on where you're working, because each drilling site is different with what resources are around, how you can get equipment in, etc. For the electrification, for what type of fuel to use.
Yes,
carbon capture.
Absolutely yes, because electrification is very much dependent on the microgrids availability, which is infrastructure.
Yes.
So that may vary depending upon where you're operating in which part of the world. So yes, there is a dependency geographically and on the infrastructure on what solutions may or may not work in that part of the world.
And where do you see Nabors going here in Saudi Arabia or in the Middle East, growth-wise, business-wise?
So we have had a long history, more than 50 years in Saudi Arabia. And Saudi Arabia and Nabors are partners today because we have a joint venture. And we are committed to Saudi Arabia, not for the next 5 years, 10 years, but for the next 100 years, because this is going to be the future and one of the cornerstones, the foundations for the oil and gas and the energy sector. And so we believe that our presence is going to continue to grow in Saudi Arabia across the different elements of the energy value chain, whether that is oil and gas or alternate.
Okay, and you see this growth occurring and more women and more Saudis joining?
Oh,
Nabors,
absolutely.
And the joint venture helps with that, along with the Vision 2030 goals?
Absolutely. I think we are fully committed and aligned both in terms of Saudiization, diversity, and having in-kingdom value by local manufacturing. We are already manufacturing equipment locally in Saudi Arabia and actually exporting it out. So we are fully committed to the solutions that the 2030 vision has formulated, and our steps are completely aligned with that approach.
Perfect. I want to thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you very much.